Welcome, everybody, to the July 2026 edition of DoD Dialogues. I'm Jim Powell, the owner of CrossFit Doors of Daring, and I'm joined by Courtney Barbour, also an owner and head coach at CrossFit Doors of Daring. And again this month, we have one of our amazing members here with us, Gemma Fox.
Yay.
Should I attempt to say the last part of your last name?
Calcanes.
Calcanes.
But Calcanes is fine.
Calcanes. Yeah. Okay, all right. Fox-Calcanes.
Yes.
Got
You got it.
Close.
You nailed it.
All right.
Yeah.
We're always trying new things here at CrossFit Doors of Daring. Hey, maybe before we get started, just a little appeal to our many tens of listeners out there. If you listen to this podcast, if you watch this podcast, we want to hear from you. Drop a comment in any platform that you watch or listen to us. Drop us a note here at the desk in the gym. Drop us an email at admin@crossfitdod.com. Hit us up on Instagram at CrossFit Doors of Daring. On Facebook at CrossFit Doors of Daring. Hit us up any way you want. Ask us a question. Let us know what topics you're interested in. Let us know if we're any good at this, if we should keep doing it. Like, we want your feedback, seriously. Whether you're a member of the gym or one of the 2 or 3 people who are not a member of our gym who listen to this, please let us know what you think and what you'd like to hear about next, okay?
Awesome. We want this to serve you.
Yeah, this is for you. We do this for you. It's not because we like, putting makeup on and getting in front of a camera. Oh, wait. I didn't put it down.
That was you.
I didn't borrow your makeup today. Cool. Hey, so we always start off, Gemma, with what you do for fitness today.
Okay.
Tell us.
So I'm part of the 6 a.m. crew. 6 a.m.
Let's
crew.
go.
So I did the workout today. So we did some rowing, some deadlifts, some snatching, and some power cleans.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
yeah.
Little barbell, a little rowing.
Yeah.
Gemma likes a little barbell.
Yeah, I like a little barbell. Little aggressive after the 500-meter all-out row, but
Sprint yesterday.
there's definitely lots of rowing this week in the
Yeah.
in
Was
the
there a lot of
programming.
leaning on the bike today? People chose the bike over the rower.
I think 5 a.m. chose the bike more, but 6 a.m. chose the rower. So most of us were rowing. It was actually a big class, so a little bit of both for
Yeah,
sure.
6 a.m. was big yesterday too. Really
Yeah.
big class.
Yeah.
I think summertime, some people pivoting from 5 a.m. or
Yeah.
whatever to a later time. Yeah.
Cool. Court, how about you?
Same. I did the class workout today. That's like my jam. I love a workout. So I did the bike and went a little heavier on the barbells and hit the targets and stuff. That was super fun. I did it in here by myself before I coached and just in the dark with like music down. It's like all my overstimulated moms out there. Sometimes you just hit it in the quiet. You know what I mean?
Quiet.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
nice. That's
It was
nice.
good. Yeah.
Cool. Well, Thursday's my rest day.
Yep.
We're filming on a Thursday, in case you didn't know.
Yeah.
But I decided when I got here, I was remembering, we're going to talk about what fitness we did today. And Jim, you can't be a little punk and say you did nothing. So I got on the C2 bike and I did 45 minutes of zone 2 and just chilled out a little bit.
Yeah.
Tried not to get overly sweaty. So
Did my
Worked
coach
out.
observation.
I get something. Yeah, I have some notes for you later.
There you go.
We'll
Perfect.
talk about it later. All right, cool.
Awesome.
Well, Gemma, thank you so much for joining us. We're super excited to have you with us and get into your journey a little bit. Maybe we start off with a layup. How about that?
Yeah.
What brought you to Doors of Daring the first time?
Yeah, so I actually didn't have an active CrossFit membership anywhere in Charlotte. I had a bunch of punch cards. My brother holds his L2s in Chapel Hill, so he was always like encouraging me to do CrossFit, and I just never pulled the trigger. And then Bruce Williams, good friend of mine, local photographer, he suggested coming to Doors of Daring because it was opening in Waxhaw, and I lived in Waxhaw, and that was it. Like, I pretty much came and I joined, I think the same day, if not the same day, the next day. So yeah, I've been here since the jump. This is the only CrossFit gym I've ever been a member of. So yeah,
Cool.
that's kind of my journey.
Yeah, I think Gemma's membership started on March 20th.
Yes.
I think like less than 2 weeks after we opened our doors.
Yeah.
It's
And
pretty amazing.
then COVID happened.
Yeah.
And I tell you, like, for the jump, like getting involved in the community and like really understanding like some of the hype behind CrossFit, that was pretty epic because the coaches came to my house, they dropped off cookies, like we did Zoom calls with workouts,
Yep.
they programmed for us stuff I did in my driveway by myself. So like that really set the standard of like what CrossFit really is known for. And hats off to you guys for making it through that because it had to be super tough.
Yeah, it was a tough period, but it was really fun trying to start a community in a time when there was like
no
it was
community,
tough,
literally.
So it was interesting to try different things, to just try to keep people engaged and keep people moving. You know, throughout that period of all of our lives, we learned how important it was to keep moving.
For sure.
Many people that didn't, suffered for it. And so I'm really proud of us really trying hard. We gave out a lot of our equipment, which by the way was brand new.
Yeah, I had some equipment.
We had just gotten it from Rogue like a couple months before, and we're handing out dumbbells and jump ropes and boxes and ab mats.
I think I had a box and a kettlebell.
Yeah, we're just handing stuff out because we just wanted people to keep moving, and it wasn't getting used here. So it was great to have you as part of that journey.
Yeah,
we were in the smaller space over there.
Yep.
We've grown up a little bit. We've all grown a little bit in that process. So you weren't a member of a CrossFit gym before joining here, but you were pretty familiar with CrossFit, had been doing it a bunch.
Yeah, I mean, I've been going to Globo gyms pretty much like since I took weightlifting in high school.
Yeah,
like I'd
that's
always
awesome.
been doing stuff. I ran track and field. I was a diver,
That's what I was
springboard
gonna
diver.
say, yeah.
So, I always did fitness related things. And I really liked the Globo gym environment, and I didn't really do a lot of organized fitness, like where there was classes.
Yeah.
So that was different for me, but it's just once you start it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Like it makes sense why it appeals to people. A lot of it is the community, seeing the same faces in the morning, getting to know the coaches, and kind of just all the different things, modifying, scaling, what's best for you that day on your journey of fitness. And so every now and then I'll hit up a Globo gym, and, that can be nice too. You go listen to your own music, but aside from that, there's really no benefit. So yeah, I'd been touching a barbell in some capacity for a long time, but more like dumbbells, kind of that kind of equipment that you would see inside of a normal gym. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And obviously there was convenience. It was in Waxhaw, right?
Yes.
But what kind of took you from the punch card to the membership at DOD? Like, what was that like final, okay, this is where I want to stay?
Yeah.
Was it just the community from COVID, or what?
I think that was like, that played into it a lot, was the community from COVID. But I think also I would consider myself an athlete prior to CrossFit. And I think that they're like the level of being able to challenge myself in a different way and do things that I was not familiar with, like at all.
Yeah.
And like, how could I grow and become a better athlete and, more conditioned, and fast forward to like what's happened in the last few years of my life. It's been like hypercritical. So, the community is definitely what has kept me here. But continuing to challenge myself and show up for myself is probably the biggest piece and part. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So tell us about your view of, how your fitness has been really critical in this journey that you've been going through, as you said, the last few years. Tell us a little more about that.
And maybe let's kind of back up though, for any listeners who don't know about that journey, right? Mm-hmm. Just give a little context of what the past few years have looked like.
Yeah.
First.
So in August of 2022, I was diagnosed with triple positive breast cancer. So stage 3. I'm not big on the stage thing, but people, that's something that people ask a lot. So, I was the healthiest I've ever been. I was the most conditioned I'd ever been. Pound for pound, I was the strongest I've ever been. Yeah. I've walked through these doors the strongest I've ever been and the weakest I've ever been in my life, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that the cancer journey is kind of, never stopped my conviction to my fitness. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm in remission, as they say. I'm a high risk, survivor.
Yeah.
So, that's always top of the mind when I'm thinking about my life and like my future and my fitness. But that's my story. That's where I'm at right now. I get scanned every 6 months, and I just try and live my life as hard as I can and enjoy it. And fitness is a tremendously giant part of like the time that I give to myself in the gym is really important to not only like be conditioned, fight the disease, but also it's like my time for myself. Like it is a release. It's a dump. Like it's my medicine. Yeah. So, some people think that's cliche and that's fine. And like kind of want to make sure that I express that like I'm not a doctor. I hold, nothing, I don't wear a white coat.
Medical degree or whatever. None of us do.
This is strictly my experience of how I fought cancer and how I will continue to fight it to not come back into my body for the rest of my life.
There's no medical evidence on this podcast. No medical advice is given.
Dude, I think like kind of what you're touching on though is that like mental health side of battling cancer, really battling any disease. But even people who aren't battling disease, right, can use exercise, fitness.
Absolutely.
Especially a fitness methodology that includes a great community to improve their life, right? It's that positive mental health aspect that we see. And let's maybe get a little bit more specific with that, right? Like, so you get this diagnosis, you go through a bunch of treatments, all that stuff, right? Like, why was it so important to you to have maybe like something consistent, something steady outside of that, right? Regardless of how it looked, because I'm sure fitness looked a lot different through that, right? Yeah.
I mean, it looked very different. One thing I didn't do throughout, I went through 30 rounds of chemo. I went through 30 rounds of radiation. I never paused my membership here. Sometimes I would show up and I would sit on that bench. Sometimes I would sit on a box up front and watch people lift weights. Sometimes I'd ride the C2 bike. But I never restricted my access to the gym, right? My access to the people. And everyone in this gym always showed up for me the same way, right? And I know I didn't look the same. I had no hair. I had no eyebrows.
Which is crazy looking at you
I
now.
know. Like my hair 3 years ago was like legit like this long and now it's this long. So super grateful for that. Cool. But I think that to go back to the mental piece of it, do I want to come and RX a workout? Of course. Do I want to do that still right now? Of course. But understanding how to extend yourself grace, whether you're going through fighting a disease or an injury that you're coping through or something you're struggling with at work or, personally, all those different battles, like fitness can play into that and how you cope. Right. So I think that throughout the journey of the last few years, giving myself this time, this space in whatever capacity I could on that day was critical. And I think to your point, that plays into, people always say to me, like, if they're talking about like their struggle or something in their life, I've heard this so many times. Oh, but it's nothing compared to what you've been through. Bro, yes, it is. Like your battle, your journey, your struggles are just as relevant to like your life and like how that's impacted you as cancer has been to mine. So like that doesn't count. Like, no, it all matters, whether it's a divorce or you lost your job or, whatever it is, like all of that matters. Like, and everyone can cope through that by giving themselves an hour a day in a gym with people who care about you, surrounded by other people that care about you.
That's so huge.
Awesome. And to have that perspective that you have, that like other people's experiences, other people's problems matter as much as this long battle that you had with cancer. There's a lot of people that don't have that kind
That's
of
what I was just thinking.
Deep perspective. That's
and I think that like one thing that I like rest assured, like I have my moments, like for sure.
Yeah.
But I've always looked at things since like been given the diagnosis of like, what's the silver lining in that? There's silver linings in everything. Like you can have ailments, you can have a disease, and you can sit in that pity and that worry and make yourself sicker. Or you can be like, this sucks. How am I going to get through it? Or I don't want to go to the gym today, but I'm going to feel better after I do. Right. So it plays into like so many different parts of life of like things that are challenging can also show you things that are really beautiful. And
Yeah.
One of the things that, if you don't mind me saying, I think one of the silver linings in your scenario, it shows up a little bit in the CrossFit methodology and the way people talk about sickness, wellness, and fitness, right? And the silver lining in your case is you entered this phase of your life very fit. As you said, you were the fittest you ever were in your life. And you entered that phase where you had to go into chemo, you had to go, into a pretty dark place as a very fit human. And CrossFit calls that a hedge. We call it a hedge against sickness, right? So the more you can press, if you imagine this continuum of here I am, I'm well, I'm in the middle of this continuum, the more you can press towards fitness, being really more than just I'm okay, I'm really fit. It's a hedge against something that knocks you back to being sick in this direction.
Absolutely.
And so much of our country just lives over here all the time. They're just sick all the time. They're just a little off kilter. And so if they have a diagnosis as serious as yours, there's not a lot of coming back from that. But you're over here already, and so you get knocked back. It's a hedge. How did you build that? You mentioned you were an athlete your whole life. You spent a couple of years here, CrossFit DOD, maybe in between your diving and DOD. How did you build up this fitness reserve such that you were such a strong human going into this?
I really think that I've always been like energized by the gym. I've always liked to work out. So I'm grateful that I didn't have to like create that in me or like, I wish I could get up in the morning and get myself there, or I wish I could go to the gym. That I almost like need it. Like I need it to like be healthy, like be sound minded, be great at my job, be good to the people that I love and care about. So
it's always been part of
it's just
who
part
you
of
are.
part of who I was. I always liked to do physical activities. I've always liked to be part of the community. Like doing volunteer work, and I've done some running with the blind, which has been something that I kind of had interwoven with doing CrossFit, but I was doing a little bit of that before. So I think that's just always kind of been who I am, and I don't know, it's fun. It's fun to work out with your friends or hit the gym with a friend.
And then during your treatment, you talked about this a little bit. You made it a point to stay connected with the gym. I know a lot of people that struggle with diagnosis or injury or whatever, they really struggle with how do I keep my identity as an athlete when I'm losing my ability to participate in the same way I have before. How did you keep that sort of fight in you?
I think, one thing that when I was going through treatment, one thing I always had to remind myself, and when I talk to other women that have been diagnosed or one thing I always had to remind myself was like, an oncologist would say to me things like, oh, you should, when radiation, you shouldn't touch a barbell. Like you really shouldn't be in the gym. Like you really have to watch your blood pressure. All those things are true, but I am not a sedentary person that has not been doing fitness for a long time. So I would always kind of tread the line of like, am I doing too much? Am I pushing it too hard? And I probably have. And you know what? That's fine, right? So I think I forgot what I was talking about.
I think there has to be a balance though of what is going to keep you like mentally and physically well, right? And what's going to harm you, obviously, in that situation, right? We don't want to do any harm. Obviously, you're getting treatment and you're seeking these things, but if you were to just go sit on your couch and like you were talking about, kind of fall into that dark place of feeling sorry that this
Right.
is happening to you and all these things, then mentally you're not well. And also physically, you're not keeping your body as healthy as it can be.
Yeah.
Right. And,
Yeah.
and that's where I think it was so cool that you just showed up some days. Right. And it's like, some days maybe I can't even ride the C2 bike, but sometimes maybe I can pick up an empty barbell, right? Or a dumbbell or a wall ball or something.
Yeah, I can remember
you know?
days like, sorry, Jim, you had asked about like staying connected to the community in the
Yeah.
gym. I think it was really just showing up. Like,
Yeah.
and I definitely had moments where I was like, I don't want to say embarrassed. Like I was fighting cancer. Like I had no hair. I was skinny. I was sick. Like I was sick because I was trying to stay alive. Right. So,
Yeah.
and I remember I have like some pictures where I'm over by the change plates and I have like a 5 and a red 1 at my feet. And I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, dude, we got to pick these up. Like this is what I'm allowed to pick up. Like this is where we can start. So, and I really think that spins it back to the community. Like I never felt unwelcomed or no, I never felt like anyone looked at me differently, like I shouldn't be here and any of that stuff. So I just stayed true to what helped me go into fighting cancer as healthy as I could. And I just continued that role. I would just come in here and like Courtney said, I would just do what I could. The coaches knew what was up. Or, if something had happened, I got to modify it this way, like, and I have a pretty good background of understanding like my physical capacity.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I would already have looked at the workout if I needed to scale it and know like, okay, I can't go overhead or how do I need to modify this for myself today?
And during that process, you and I talked about this a little bit many, many moons ago, but you inspired so many people who watched you fight and watched you stick with it and just persevere. And this was something you and I haven't talked about, but for some odd reason, I got really lucky in this process because somewhere along the way, when you started making a more full recovery, we found ourselves, you and me, here on Saturdays.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Without partners.
Yep.
Several times.
Yes, we did.
As you were making your way back and, you were still sort of struggling to find your athleticism, your breath, and you're just making your way back. And I was super like honored to be able to be your partner.
Thanks.
And,
Awesome.
and, be a teeny tiny little part of helping you stay connected and stay with it and stay motivated. And I've always treasured that.
That's
so
cool. I appreciate that.
I wanted to say that to you.
Yeah. And I think it's
pretty awesome.
It's awesome of you because, we all get caught in this loop that doesn't exist, but exists where it's like, oh, well, if I'm partnering with Jim, I'm going to hold him back. Right. I got to, let him know,
real.
like, I'm not going to be, you might have to carry me on this or that. And, we don't need to get caught in that, but it's natural that we do those things. So I appreciate that, I appreciate that. That's pretty dope that that's a core memory for you about our fitness together.
It was cool. Yeah. It was just like somehow worked out that like I didn't have partners for like a long time.
Yeah.
Gemma, let's do this. And then it became a thing. It was awesome.
You guys, this is what I love about CrossFit. Because like how many other gyms do you walk in and you find these people matched up just for a Saturday workout, you know, and very differing phases of life and abilities and all the things, Yeah. That's so
awesome.
cool.
You
That's
never
so
held
cool.
me back.
I know. That's so cool.
It's great.
Okay, one of the things we hear you say a lot or post on your social media is that people should stay hard to kill, right? And those are the specific words you use. I freaking love it because it's not just like when it comes to disease, right? It's like if you get mugged on the side of the street, like you better be hard to kill.
Right.
So talk about what that means to you, why you've kind of maybe latched onto that, where that came from.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
I think that just kind of goes into the whole like mentality of how I've fought this battle with cancer and how I talk about like being deconditioned is never going to help you fight a disease or fight an injury or pick up your children you know and put them on your hip or carry your groceries inside with on run. So I think it's just kind of a precedent that I want to live by, and I want to keep doing everything I can to stay hard to kill. And I think that it sounds aggressive to some, and that's fine.
You're like, whoa.
Yeah, that's fine. But it's true. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing every day I come in here, is trying to stay hard to kill and be here for the people that I love, and keep doing fitness, and keep chasing dreams and checking things off my bucket list. And I think that when you face your own mortality, you know, the desire to stay hard to kill is kind of elevated to a different level. So that's kind of what drove it. But I feel like I'm going to carry that with me. And I like another thing I say all the time is like, get after grateful, because they're wildly not the same in like a poetically romantic way.
Stay hard to kill.
Yeah, get after grateful. But I think that there's so much stuff to be grateful for, and it's really easy to feel not grateful for things. And so I feel like that's kind of plays into the silver lining thing. It's like, well, this sucks, but wait, I'm so grateful for this. And you just see things a little bit differently, you know, when you kind of dip your toe on the other side of what life could be. So
exactly.
Well, now that you're back, you know, and you got the long hair, the flowing hair, and you're feeling good.
Beautiful.
How do you reframe your goals in the gym? You know, a lot of people get kind of fixated on the number, the time, the weight on the barbell.
RX or not.
RX or not.
Yeah.
How do you reframe that now in this new phase of your life?
That's a good question. I mean, like I mentioned before, I still want to RX workouts, and I still want to push the envelope. I mean, this morning I was like, 65-pound snatch. It's not heavy for lots of women. I've been through, 4 surgeries now.
Procedures,
so I always didn't have great shoulder mobility. And so that's obviously been impacted more. So, my goal today specifically was like, I'm going to try and see if I can do this from the hang and see how it feels, and if it hurts. And then in my mind, it's like, okay, Gemma, if you can do it and it doesn't hurt and it's comfortable, then give yourself the grace to do it slow, but do it, right? So it's always changing. There's certain things I know I might not ever be able to come in here and do like I could do before. And that's okay. So it's a constant like conversation with myself. I look at the workout, like, am I going to be able to hit that? How am I going to have to do that? Am I going to have to scale it? And those were questions that I asked myself all the time before I had cancer, like what was going to be best for me on that day. But I think the mental shift is really like, it's okay. Like you're going in there and you're putting in the work that you can, the best you can on that day. Yeah. And that's really what matters to me more than the way it did before. I like I said, like I still want to get stronger, and I still want, Courtney coaching last week, she noticed a difference in my overhead mobility. She noticed it. And it's like, she commented on that. And I was like, I texted her later that afternoon, like, that's really important for me that she noticed that, right? Because she's watched me through this journey, like really struggle. So I think giving yourself grace is like hypercritical in a lot of things in life. But in fitness, it's, I'm not going to the games, right? And I'm not going to the Olympics either. So I'm just trying to come in here and do what I can, and
I think that's such an
myself.
important message for so many people, like, that are perfectly healthy, right? And that are young and fit. Like, the same thing is true. Like, just come in and do the work. And some days are going to be better than others. Yep. And you don't always have to put so much pressure on yourself, because that's what burns you out faster.
Yeah. And I think that another piece of that is, if you can't do something, you can still come in here, and the coaches will help you figure out something you can do. Exactly. And I think people get super discouraged by that. They're like, whatever's going on, they're like, oh, I just won't go. Like, no, that's not what you don't need to do that. Like, we can adjust and modify that's
So
best for
many
us on
things.
that day.
And that's kind of what I was thinking about too, because there's been parts of your journey where there's like, it might seem or feel like, oh, I can't do anything, you know, and we get creative and we make something
Yep.
into a workout
Yep.
where we can still get you moving, get your blood flow, maybe get your lower half stronger, whatever. And then there's been days where it's like, no, Gemma, like, you've been doing this a long time. I'm gonna put you in charge.
Right.
So that you can feel really good about like, this is my workout, right?
Yep.
I think that's where it's so cool to have like that coach athlete relationship. Cool for me, on the side of like, I can trust you, right? And to come, show up, do your best, know your body, right? And also to communicate with me like, hey, I need help today, right? And then I step in and like, let's talk about this. Let's make a good plan.
Yeah.
I watch you, make sure you're healthy, you know, moving well, all that stuff. Cause that's another thing, like you don't get everywhere, right?
No.
Number one. And number two, that's another thing people shy away from, right? Is inviting someone else to help them through things that like feel really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be open about this. I hate that my body can't do this right now. I would much rather just close that door and hide it
Yeah.
instead of like, hey coach, can you help me with this?
Yeah.
Like, you know? And so I really appreciate that you've included our coaches in that part of your journey. But I think that can be a good example for other people too.
Yeah.
You know,
I absolutely agree.
in that.
Even something as simple as like, I'm not sleeping well.
Yeah.
I mean, like, show up 4 out of 5 days and you're not sleeping well and you're just not able to
Yeah.
do what you can do if you're getting great sleep.
Yeah.
You know, just
Yeah.
communicating that to someone else, like, I'm not myself today.
Yeah.
I think more people need to take advantage of that. That, hey, you know, just be open and transparent about where you are in that moment,
Yeah.
and we'll make the workout work for you.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think the coaches, I mean, obviously being a member for 6.5 years, like just really watching, a lot of times I'm observing that happening around me. I mean,
Yeah.
of how you can how the coaches can help or change a movement so it's accommodating for that athlete. And I think that's super critical in what the community is here. I know, you know, there's been a few occasions recently where, you know, not everybody knows like the granular bits and pieces of what
Yeah.
what I've gone through. Even recently, you know, I just came out of a surgery 7 weeks ago. So,
Yeah.
and that's,
And here we are.
Yeah, here
Still
we are.
here killing
Still
it.
here we are. And you know, I've shared with a coach before class, like, hey, I'm gonna modify this like this, and hey, do you need help, or how can I support you through this? Like, that stuff is just really important and particularly critical in CrossFit. And I think in any sport really, and I think in life too, like, how can I support you through this? Like, it seems like such an easy concept, but sometimes people are just, they want a water hose and dump with what they think you should do versus saying like, hey, Courtney,
Asking first.
how can I support you through this workout? Like, what can I do to help you so that you get the best out of your time here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's huge. Good reminder to all coaches out there too.
Yeah.
That's good.
You know,
Yeah.
one of the things that I learned about you today that I didn't know was that you were kind of a free agent before you came to DOD.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought we stole you from somewhere,
No.
but that's interesting to know. So I have been to many CrossFit events around Charlotte with you. I've been there with you. I've been observing you as a competitor. We've been spectators together, lots of different events around Charlotte. One of them, by the way, is Beers and Burpees.
Yeah,
Burpees.
perfect.
Shout out to
Plug.
Beers and Burpees.
Yeah.
I know we gotta start hyping that because
yeah.
it's coming up.
a fun
Let's
event.
do it.
Shout out Beers and Burpees.
I love that.
That's one of the premier events that we always find ourselves at together, along with several other people from DOD. But just, you know, you also mentioned that you spent a lot of time at Globo gyms. You spent a lot of time sort of with punch cards, sort of being around the CrossFit community as a free agent, as I'm saying. What would you say is the advantage of putting down roots and making yourself a more permanent part of a specific community, a specific gym?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
big.
mean, that's a good question. I think from the beginning, right, from when I joined, and then, like we kind of talked about before with COVID, like, I think having a community of people that you see, that you care about, that you develop friendships with, that you connect with, that you hang out with outside of the gym is a big piece of it. I also think that one of the reasons that Doors of Daring just like became part of my routine, I mean, it's quite literally the nicest CrossFit gym I've ever been in. One, it's incredibly clean. It's well maintained. I always say there's a member here that I took to a CrossFit gym in Florida, and when she left the gym with me, she was like, "Can't do that. Nope, never again.
We're not going back there."
And it was your typical like garage door roll ups.
Like probably great
don't care
people,
about,
but just,
super great people. But like you lay on the floor, you stand up, your body is black,
the floor.
My brother, like I mentioned, he's a CrossFit coach in Chapel Hill, and super wonderful people. But like they keep some of their weights, like their plates outdoors, and the metal ring is like spinning inside of it, and so it's a high quality facility with high quality coaches. It's very close to my house, so it's very convenient for me to come here, and I've just never really wavered. Like I locked in and I've been a member ever since. So it's my investment in myself. So that to me tenfold is worth the membership.
And one thing, I'm going to brag on you a little bit right now, Gemma. So like you have poured into this community in a million different ways, right? Like anytime someone has a baby or whatever, you're like the first on the meal train, the first like supporting that person, whatever. And I think, obviously, I know you love volunteering, and that's a way that you love pouring out just for you. But I think for other people to know that that's a part of really putting down roots too, right?
Absolutely.
Is like, if you're always just bouncing around and stuff like that, you don't have relationships enough where those things start to happen, right? But when you really put down roots, it's like, oh, I know Trey Castle so well that he and his wife are expecting another baby. Like, I want to pour into them.
Right.
Or, so-and-so got sick and they need support. Like, how can we come around them and support them?
Yeah.
A million other things, right?
Yeah.
But I think that's part of how I've seen you with your roots here pour into this community, right? It's like, you don't just say, oh, I go here and I have for 6 years. Like, you've really poured into the people here for 6 years.
Well,
right?
and I think on the flip of that is, I've had a meal train out, basically every surgery I've had that's been hosted by someone at this gym.
It's so cool,
and it's not, the
and
food has been delicious. Like, so
we've all been kind of recipients
so I
of
think
that,
that goes both ways, because I've been on the receiving end of that. I mean, and let's not forget about the event that Doors of Daring hosted when I got diagnosed. I mean, there was legitimately 250 people in here.
Awesome.
It was one of the coolest nights of my life when I was going into one of the hardest seasons of my life. Like, I will never forget that. So
we got to do that workout again. That's a good workout.
It is a good workout.
Gemma.
We should do that
Gemma's
workout.
strong.
We should.
Yeah, we should.
Pull that up.
That actually is a really good workout.
Yeah.
We should do that on like a Saturday or something.
Yeah.
It's super fun.
It's a good one.
I'd be in for that.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Be great.
I know someone who programs, though. We're good.
You can take care of it.
We're good. Awesome.
You want to close this out, Court?
Yeah. This last question I'm really passionate about. So, we talked about stay hard to kill, all these things, community, everything. But one thing I hear all the time from busy moms, busy professionals, it's like, man, I just don't have the time. Like, how do I fit that in? Why should I prioritize that when I have a million other things going on, right? So let's kind of leave our listeners with like, all right, now we know that this is important. We know community is amazing, whatever. Like, why should we prioritize it? Absolutely make it part of your day. Don't sacrifice it, whatever. What would your kind of message to them be, right?
I think my main message is that being deconditioned just will never support you in the longevity of your life, and that you owe yourself at minimum an hour a day to focus on yourself, whether that's all out fitness and giving it all you got, or scaling it back to what's best for you on that day, I think that's pretty much the message that I would say. It is always worth it. And you know what? Sometimes you have a hard workout and you leave and you get in your car and you feel like crap and it breaks you. Yeah. And that's okay too. Like you grow in those seasons as well, right? Yeah. Like, okay, how can I change the narrative of my day? I'm pissed off about that. Yeah. You missed a lift. You didn't do something as well as you thought that you could. How can you shift that into like, but I showed up for myself. I sweat. I got to see some of my friends. I got to be with the community. And now I'm going to go press forward into my day. Or, you know, if you work out at night, press forward into your evening with your family and have a good night's rest. Yes. I mean, all of that next stuff morning, contributes to your overall health. So I think I don't think
that you owe it. Yeah. Like they owe it to themselves.
I don't think that you're ever too busy to not figure out a way to give yourself an hour of fitness.
Yeah. Says the woman who works till like 8 o'clock at night sometimes.
I do be working a lot
makes
sometimes.
It happen.
Yeah.
Just carve that time out for yourself.
Absolutely.
And protect it.
Yep.
Because it's important.
You make it a priority.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think once it's habit, you almost never regret it, right?
Nope.
Like I've never, done a workout, been like, man, I wish I didn't do that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Awesome. Well, thank you
Thanks
so
for
much,
having me,
Gemma.
guys.
Thank you for being on.
Here. I could talk to Gemma all day. We can just go round 2.
Well,
let's go.
Again, thank you all for listening, for watching. Leave us a comment. Give us an idea about who you want to see on our show next. You want to see more of Gemma? You want to hear less from me? That's fine. Whatever. All of your feedback is welcome. You could also click the like button or the follow button or mash the subscribe button or whatever.
This cool guy right here.
One of those things. Yeah, do those things, and we'll see you next month. Thank you.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.